Hey, what's happening? What's happening? What's happening, y'all? It's me coming back at you again with another live stream. Today I'm gonna go through a lot of stuff, a lot of things to cover here. First things off, I'm gonna start off with the first two games to recap the WNBA's finals, and man, oh man, oh man, it's definitely living up to expectations at this point. Definitely living up to expectations. The first game, my LA Sparks have really clobbered the Lynx early on, 28-2. They start the game with a 28-2 lead, and I'm sitting there wondering. I mean, is this the same Minnesota Lynx that the dominant Minnesota Lynx that has been a force been reckoned with in the league for the last several years now, and they're doing and the Sparks are doing this to them? I mean, Jesus Christ. I mean, seriously. But, of course, a team like the Lynx, you cannot count out because they will find a way to claw back. And they did claw back by playing tight defense, making sure the Sparks were settle with the perimeter jump shots. Hey, what's going on, Tadim? Yeah, man, them ladies have been killing it, man. Maya Moore, Candace Parker, which is my girl, you know what I'm saying? You're not literally, but you know what I mean. Naneka Guma King and Odyssey Sims, and Lena Beer and so forth, man. They've been killing it, dude. They've been killing it. Essence Carson's come on to help out Chantel Lavender. But I wish that Brian Agler could use his bench a little bit more because Sydney Weiss can definitely help out on the perimeter, especially with her, her consistent perimeter shots. She can help out there, um, and so forth. And of course, Chelsea Gray, who's definitely a baller herself. So definitely gotta give those women props, man, because it's easy. Yeah, yeah, man. Who isn't Candace? Is anybody? Candace is everybody's girl, man. You know what I'm saying? But the thing is too is that the thing is that the team the Lynx and the Sparks are evenly matched up, man. Evenly matched up. We saw what happened in game one when the Sparks had that huge lead in the first quarter. Then it started to decline. When the Lynx got close into the half, and then they were up by 1 point with four different lead changes within less than a minute or 2 minutes or something like that. And then Chelsea Gray came in there and then hit the game winning shot in game one, which stole game one from the Lynx. Kind of similar to what happened last year with Atlanta Bears stealing game one from the Lynx from the corner, which is a long 2 point shot, which took the Sparks game one, which pretty much was the tipping point to how the Sparks won that whole series that year, which was a damn good series, by the way, which shaped up to be a good series this year. And then, Minnesota kind of reversed the circumstances. They came out with a huge lead, not as big as the Sparks did against them, whatnot, in the first game. Yeah, what's going on, K Black? What's going on? What's going on, man? What's going on, man? I'm just going through a lot of stuff right now. I'm gonna get to boxing, but first I'm gonna go to the NBA to bring up the Rick Pitino news, which is very, very, very interesting, man, because there's a scandal going on with Rick Pitino. But I'll get into that one sec. But let me get through the WNBA first. Um, yeah, so the Sparks definitely take game one. Of course, there's some controversy surrounding the WNBA's finals, which everybody knows that the Sparks have elected to not stand for the national anthem. They sat in the locker rooms while the national anthem was playing, and then they'll come out when the PA will announce the starting lineups. And of course, the Sparks is getting a lot of heat for that. But you know what? Hey, they're still showing support of the NFL players who pretty much are doing the same thing. Same thing with the NBA players who are kind of protesting the president of the United States for his, wild comments, whatnot. So, which is not surprising coming from Donald Trump, but it is what it is. But anyhow, the Lynx came back, with a very fast start in game two. Not as big as the Sparks did to them. But to be fair, the Lynx had a big 20-point lead going into the second half. They were up like 20 points going in, like at the half of the third quarter, and then the Sparks were able to climb back and shrink that lead as much as possible. They jumped out in the fourth quarter and they were able to come in within three within less than a minute. But there's one call that had to be questioned, though, and I got to see this. The officiating is getting on my nerves here. I mean, the officiating was pretty bad in the first game because I think the officiating was trying to help out the Lynx to get back into that game. And let me tell you why. Because there was a lot of non-calls against Maya Moore. Because Maya Moore was complaining in the first game where she felt that she was getting unjustly calls against her, which she did make a lot of blatant foul calls, but she was like begging the referees to give her to help her out on some calls, and there were like 2 or 3 different calls in the first game where she clearly clobbered Candace Parker on the loose ball, and they didn't call a foul. And that should have been her 6th foul. She should have been fouled out of the game. So, but hey, the Sparks won it despite that situation. It is what it is. Mr. Doc, what's going on, man? What's going on, man? Let me see here. It says here that you said there was. I still haven't gotten a good answer as to why all these kids need to know from their parents to opt out of their pledges of allegiance, but grown ass adults aren't allowed to opt out. That's a good question. That's a very good question. You know what? Here's the thing. Here's the thing. Here's the way I look at it. The national anthem, pretty much, it's there to show pride of your country. There is pride. You can show pride within the country you live in, regardless of not standing up for your national anthem. Okay. I believe that I believe that. Okay. But nonetheless, there's nothing that's written within the law that you are required is a prerequisite to stand up for the national anthem if you're a collegiate athlete. Okay. But I can understand both sides of the story why some people may take offense to that. But then again, those who take offense to why these athletes are choosing not to stand up for the national anthem should also understand what these people are coming from, because there's the other side of the group, which is the minor, which I am in the minority, who are getting targeted unjustly by by cops, by Caucasian cops, and the fact that there's been oppression going on against African Americans and minorities for many decades and years, and we're just tired of it. So this is where the other people who are protesting it should understand what these athletes are coming from, especially from the minority, and those who choose it, who are not in the minority, who understands, chooses to do, the follow lead of those minorities, which is a telling sign as well. So that's my take on it. But it's a good point, Mr. Doc. But I'm looking at it from another perspective as well, see what's going on here. To me, I think that the protest should get the wider audience to understand. Simple. Oppression will not be ignored, and the athletes like Colin Kaepernick is demonstrating that by his silent protest, which we call it a silent protest, which is within your rights, within the constitutional rights of this country. You do have a right to do. Okay, but the fact is that some of the naysayers, I should say, who are upset or offended by the fact that some of these athletes are choosing not to stand up for the national anthem should understand that constitutional right, or they just don't understand it. They're probably unaware of it. They're not dumb. No, no, no. It's just that they're unaware of that constitutional right. So yeah. Okay. Anyhow, game 2, the Sparks were able to climb back. Definitely that questionable call on Odyssey Sims on Maya Moore right there. Well, they called a foul on Odyssey Sims that sent Maya Moore to the line, which was kind of like the telling point of the game right there. And to me, that was a clear strip of the ball from Odyssey Sims from Maya Moore, which that was a bailout call that they gave, the officials gave for Maya Moore. And Maya Moore has been getting a lot of favorable calls over the last few years. I'm going to be honest, and I like Maya Moore. But I got to call for what it is. She has gotten away with so much stuff. And yet she has a nerve in game 1 to go to the officials to complain about not getting, preferable treatment. So I'm kind of like, okay, Maya, come on, stop complaining, play ball. You know what I'm saying? Stop looking for refs for help. And she's been getting it. I'm just being honest, man. But, it is what it is. But it's still a damn good series we got. It's now 1-1. It's going back to L.A. Definitely is going to be a tough task for the Minnesota Lynx to kind of carry that momentum from game 2 to game 3 and 4, obviously. So definitely it's gonna be a tough task, either for both teams, man. But like I said, both teams are both teams are evenly matched. Definitely going to be another great series like it was last year. So they're picking it off from what they did, and a lot of people are comparing this matchup to like the Warriors and the Cavaliers of the NBA. I mean, look, it is kind of a fair comparison, but I know there's a difference between the WNBA and the NBA. The NBA is nothing but, it is high scoring offense, which we all enjoy, a lot of athleticism and finesse, a lot of style and profiling. But in the WNBA, these girls actually play a lot of defense. I mean, they play defense. And the NBA was more of a defensive scheme type of game, which was all physicality pretty much. Of course, the Detroit Pistons were the ones who kind of mainstreamed that. Yes, they were kind of like I won't say the word blackballed, but they were kind of tarnished based off the fact that they had that reputation of being, having, tough defense. Of course, other teams like the Lakers and the Celtics were known, were getting away with that too. But now they weren't kind of they weren't looked up that way as the Pistons were. Yeah, I understand what you're saying, Mr. Doc. I totally understand what you're saying on that. So, yeah, that's true. That's true. It's a good point that you bring up. So, definitely, the adults have a right to opt out, just like like these adults are telling their kids not to stand up on some occasions, which is true. So they have a right to opt out, just like the kids have a right to opt out. So it is what it is. It's within your constitutional right. So, anyways, like I said, game three, definitely looking forward to that. Game four, so definitely gonna be a tough series for both teams, man. They're evenly matched up, so it's going to go either way. But it also goes to show that even though you have a big lead, doesn't mean you can let up against either one of these teams. The Lynx could come back like they shown in game one, and the Sparks could definitely come back like they shown in game two. So definitely looking forward to it on Friday and Sunday. So we'll see. Anyhow, one more thing about the WNBA. I know somebody keep bringing up the fact that the draft lottery hasn't been held yet, and they're wondering why the WNBA has yet to they have yet to what you call it, hold a new date for the draft lottery. They were supposed to hold the draft lottery on the I think it was on September 14th, and it's been what 2.5 weeks now. They haven't had a draft lottery, and I think the reason behind that, the only logical reason behind that, is because I think there's going to be another expansion team that's going to be put in there. I think there's going to be a couple new teams going to be put in there. That's the only logical explanation why they're doing this, and I think they're waiting to after the finals, the season is completely wrapped up. Then they're going to announce the new teams, and there's going to be an expansive draft, and then of course, six players will be unprotected by the current teams at this point to be entering the draft, depending on what teams are coming in. So that's just my take on it. That's my thing. But on to some other stuff. I'll get to boxing in a second. Low place, man. Dude, stop. Dude. I'll get to boxing in a second, man. I'll get to boxing as soon as I wrap up the basketball stuff. Okay. Now, Rick Pitino scandal. This is something we got to talk about. K Black, yeah, we got to talk about this one, man. Okay, in case you guys had heard recently, there was four assistant coaches that's been subject to a federal probe right now. They've been arrested for a conspiracy to bribery and fixed games, whatnot. Okay, I didn't read the full stories behind that, but Rick Pitino is part of this probe as well. About this situation is that he was put on an administrative leave without pay amidst of this scandal. So what's happening now is that they put him on administrative leave along with another athletic director who's involved. So look, dude, that was years ago, man. With that situation with those prostitutes, man, leave it alone with Pitino. That was years ago. I'm gonna talk about what's happening now, okay? So what happened was that University of Louisville, which Pitino previously coached, or recently coached, I should say, is part of the this whole federal investigation of pay for play involving recruits. Okay, now according to the report here, it says that Adidas executive was also involved here. Was conspired to pay over $100,000 to a top recruit in Louisville and represent Adidas when he turns pro. Okay. Yes, he did. Yes, I know. Pitino was no saint, man. He's been doing all kind of crooked shit, along with John Calipari. What's so funny about that is John Calipari's got away with so much shit, and he still gets hired. He has yet to be reprimanded. So why is Pitino's getting the shaft of getting the short end of the stick, but not fucking John Calipari? So that's just my take on it. All right, but anyways, let me read this report. It says here that the criminal complaint does not name Louisville specifically, but appears it involves a recruitment of Bruce Bowen, not Bruce Bowen, my bad, Brian Bowen, all right, who actually shocked everyone when he surprisingly committed to the school at the last minute. So that was kind of raised a lot of eyebrows when he decided to do that at the very last minute, which he previously committed to another school. But it is what it is on that. So Petito definitely, he's in a lot of trouble right now. It looks like he's going to get shafted. So he's not going to be done. Now, obviously, uh, would he be facing a criminal investigation? I mean, criminal prosecution, perhaps. But Obviously, he could pay a hefty fine just to get himself out of trouble. But the thing is, he won't be hired anywhere else. He could be looking for a career in commentary, perhaps that could happen. He could wait another couple of years till this whole thing blows out, because he has enough money to kind of last for another couple of years to sit around and do nothing. Perhaps take jobs as a speaker, as a motivational speaker, I should say. So yeah, he'll be yet to be seen right now. But I know a lot of people kind of hitting Pitino right now, particularly the fact that he failed in Boston when he became the Boston Celtics head coach and general manager for like what 6 seasons, whatnot. So yeah, a legend in Louisville. I talked to a couple guys from Louisville, man. They're not happy about what's going on, but it is what it is, man. But here's the thing about it. Here's the thing I have to say. I've always said it best that to avoid all these scandals and this corruption that's going on in the NCAA, the NCAA should institute a program where these players should get a stipend. All right. I'm not saying that these players should get like what $100,000 a year for their services, whatnot. I think they should get a stipend at least so that way they're well taken care of during the middle of the season. Because in the middle of the season, not only they have to practice hard, they have to study, they have to go to class, they have to make sure the grades are up to par. It's very difficult to do when you're playing a tough schedule. So in my way, my thing is to way to solve that problem and for these players to stop doing what they're doing by getting all these, $100 gifts or $1,000 gifts or $200,000 gifts with, Lamborghinis and all that stuff. The only way to prevent that is pay them. Just pay them. Come up with a pay system so that way all this could go away. Again, I'm not saying you should give them $100,000 contract or $200,000 or $1 million contract. No, 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 no. You should give them a stipend so that way they felt that they're being appreciated for their services on the collegiate level. I've always advocated for that. So I saw people going to say, well, they should do it the traditional way, like other players have done it. Well, if you believe that other players like Michael Jordan and Magic Johnson haven't received gifts, then you're totally mistaken because those guys, I believe, have got gifts during their collegiate career. James Worthy, all those guys, Clyde Drexler, Keem Olajuwon. What makes you think those guys didn't receive gifts in their collegiate careers? I think they all have. Of course, they can't say nothing about it because obviously, if they do, it's going to tarnish their reputation, like Chris Webber, for example. Over there with that what was it, the Paul Martin or Jim Martin scandal over there in University of Michigan, where Michigan had to vacate all their records because of that scandal. So it is what it is. Let me see low place. It says here, Petito slapped my sister, baby daddy cousin for $40 and tried to pay her $100 a sucker off as a 4-star recruit. Look, man, I don't know, man. If this is true, then maybe your cousin needs to come out and do an interview, all right? Because I know you be saying some stuff that you're supposed to say this and that and third. I'm not saying you're telling the truth, but maybe your cousin should put out an interview, all right, to state that situation. Mr. Doc, aren't most recruiting trips basically attempts to get some bribery or any other, if we're being honest? Absolutely. Come on, let's be honest. Do you think all these top recruits are going to go to these schools for free? No. I'm gonna give you an example, like Gino Ariano. I can't even pronounce his last name. Gino Ariano over there at UConn, right? Gino Ariano has had what 4, 5, 6 consecutive seasons without losing a game, right? And some people beg to ask the question: how is this guy is able to get all these top recruits to come to UConn? All right, Gino Ariano's. I'll call him Gino A, for example. I'll call him Gino A for short. Gino A, in my opinion, is doing all kinds of shady shit to get all these top recruits for women's basketball to go to UConn. How is he able to get the likes of Breonna Stewart? How does he get Mariah Jefferson? How does he get the likes of Kia Stokes? I mean, Kia Stokes is an all right player. Tina Charles. Who else? Maya Moore. I heard he did some shady shit to get Maya Moore. That's why Pat Summitt was pissed off about that whole situation and whatnot. And God rest her soul. But it is what it is. But yeah, when it comes to recruiting, man, there has to be some type of robbery going on. There's no way in hell those top recruits is going to go to those schools for free. Like reminds you how the SMU scandal had brought about in the mid '80s or early '80s in college football. And people were like surprised how a top recruit like Eric Dickerson will commit to SMU. And we all know why he committed because he was getting paid to go to that school. you know, so it is what it is, man. Low place. Well, before I get to low place, Mr. Doc, college sports are profoundly corrupt, in my opinion. Absolutely, they are. They absolutely are corrupt. The NCAA, I think this is my estimate revenue. They pull in about maybe $2 billion a year in revenue. $2 billion. which is about $3 billion short of the NBA. You know what I mean? NCAA in general. The NCAA in general pulls in about $2 billion in revenue a year. It is sad. That doesn't. I'm not sure that includes merchandising, TV deals, TV contracts, you name it. But the fact is that none of these players are getting their fair, get that share of the money. All right, and I think it's injustice that we penalize them just to try to so that way they can find a way to feed their families. Okay, because there's no way in hell they could work a part-time job while playing and studying at the same time and traveling all those dates to play ball. There's no way they could do that. Okay, it's a very tough schedule to do. So yeah, kind of like the Terrell Pryor situation of Ohio State when the NFL decided to suspend him over the Ohio State scandal over football, right? And Terrell Pryor was only trying to feed his family when he got caught selling his merchandising with his name on it. He only did it because he needed money to pay his bills for his mother's home. You know what I mean? So and yeah, he got penalized for that. So that's just my opinion on that. Just my take on it. I just think these players need to be paid, and the NCAA needs to come up with the stipend structure. That's all I have to say. Let me see, Mr. Doc. Everyone in laugh out loud, and everyone acted like SMU was the exception right of the rule. Hey, that's a good point, man. It's a good point there. Well, I mean, to be true, SMU was the last college that received the death penalty, as they call it, where they were, was stripped from their college scholarships, and they were their TV rights were taken away from them, and the fact that they couldn't receive funding for scholarships for like 4 or 5 years, and it really killed that program. It killed them so bad to the point that people didn't even care to go see their games after they were after their sanctions were lifted. So after the SMU scandal, the death penalty has never been assessed to any other program since. But to be fair, though, I think the Penn State had kind of got the death penalty to some degree as well, in my opinion. But it was not as severe as SMU. SMU really got destroyed by the death penalty, and it was very difficult for them to get to top recruits to come to their school after that whole incident. So it is what it is. Yeah. Well, they got caught because there was people there was players who I think it was a couple players who ratted them out because they didn't get their fair share of the money. So that's the reason why how they got caught. I mean, the NCAA. The thing is, the NCAA had warned them multiple times that you guys got to stop doing this. Stop doing this pay for play practices. They were warned so many times to stop doing it, but then again, they got caught like the third time, like I said, by a couple players ratting them out. So it is what it is. They deserve to get the punishment. But yeah, like I said, that death penalty really killed their program for many years. Really killed it. It's funny though because Larry Brown, the former, Larry Brown, the basketball coach down there, and I think SMU got involved in another scandal under Larry Brown, and they're under probation, I believe. So yeah, very the irony of the situation. How ironic. Mr. Doc, the amount of the money the NCAA makes while not paying these players that generates sad money is disgusting. Generate much money is disgusting. Absolutely, man. It is disgusting. It is. It is. It kind of reminds me of how because me and my friends are talking about this with the WNBA situation because there was a report that came out with the WNBA about how players are being underpaid based off their hard work and their and their gifts, right? I think the writer, the columnist of the report of the contributor of the reporter or the columnist, I should say, is Professor Dave. I think his name is David Berry. Professor Dave Berry of Southern Utah. I think that's his name. Let me look it up. Dave Berry. I think it's Dave Berry. Yeah, it's Dave Berry. Okay, with the I at the end. Okay. Now Dave Berry put out a report that yeah, he's a sports economist. All right, because he writes about sports and the organizations and their and how pretty much how he studies how how the current economics environment impacts professional sports as a whole, right? So he did an article on the WNBA. He's written about the WNBA for and more than recently. I think he's written about the WNBA for last few years now. And he put out an interesting piece, right? And he said that there's not really there's not concrete data on how much money the WNBA makes, right? But however, he's able to cover some data that if you take into account the ticket sales that they earn, right, the WNBA, right, they don't have an average ticket sale to determine that amount, right? So he was able to find data on on the 8 teams that on what their average ticket sale is, right? So the average ticket sale is about $16.88, right? And the WNBA gets $25 million off their TV contract with ESPN, right? With Disney, whatever you want to call it, right? So if you take that $25 million and you add that to the $16.88, well, you don't add that, but before you add that, you take the $25 million, right? So you got $16.88 a ticket average sale, right? To me, it should be more than this. So $16.88, and you divide that. I mean, you multiply that by their attendance that they did this year, which is 1.6 million people that went to the games. So that's about another $26 million there, right? So $26 million in gate revenue versus let's see, 20 plus plus 25 million for the TV contracts. That's about $51 million in revenue right there, right? But let's be fair though. But that's not definitive because that's just an estimate right there. However, to me, the average ticket price is $30 because there's no way in hell that the average ticket sale was $17. Those ticket sales has went up over the years. Okay, so to me it should be $30. So if you take $30, you times that by 1.6. Let me see, so $30 times 1.6 million, right? That's $48 million plus 25 million. So the league just, I think, in my opinion, there are two revenue sources. There are two revenues combined at $73 million, but that's not all. The WNBA has been able to increase their revenue streams over the last couple of years. They recently got a deal with Twitter to broadcast 20 games a season, going from now, which started this year, to 2018 to 2019. And we don't know the deals of we don't know what you call it, the deal between Twitter and the WNBA. Well, how much is that worth? You have to also account for the merchandising sales. They never disclosed the amount they got for merchandising. They don't disclose the amount on the sponsorship sales they get. And of course, the sponsorship sale, particularly that Verizon contract that the WNBA's got as well. So to me, in my opinion, I think their annual revenue, the WNBA's annual revenue, is roughly over between 120 to 150 million dollars a year. If that's only paying, that's just my opinion. So don't sue me on this. Don't, WNBA, don't sue me. I'm just only This is only my opinion. All right. So their revenue, in my opinion, is between 130 million to 150 million dollars in a year, and it's going to go up. That's definitely damn good for only paying 34 games a season. That's not even including the postseason revenue. Okay, and I forgot to mention the revenue streams where they get for their subscription for WNBA League Pass. They don't disclose that either. So there's a lot of money that WNBA is making here. Okay, there's a lot of money to be making here, and it's sad though because the WNBA players are not getting their collective bargaining agreement does not tie into the league's total revenue. Because right now the league's total revenue is about between what 23 to 24. Well, actually, no. I'm sorry. The WNBA players are only getting about 24 to 25% of the league's revenue, while the NBA is getting 50% of the league's revenue. The NBA players, I should say. So to me, I think what's going to happen now is this report just came out. The WNBA more likely could go on strike. They could opt out in 2019 because their collective bargaining agreement is going to run between now until the 2021. So it's kind of like the similar situation with the NCAA, but the problem is that the NCAA don't have a players union. That's a major difference. The WNBA has a players union, so that way they can negotiate deals and get a new collective bargaining agreement involved. The WNBA, we all know they're making a lot of money. They just can't disclose it because they don't want the players to know. That's my opinion. All right. Now, let's go on to the boxing because we got over the Rick Pitino situation with the NCAA and the WNBA finals recap. So let's get on to the boxing talk. There's some stuff I got to cover here. The Luke Campbell fight versus Jorge Linares. I said, repeatedly that I thought that Luke Campbell was not ready for that fight. I thought he was going to get steamrolled. But to be fair though, he was losing the fight in the first few rounds. As you looked at the first few rounds, we all know who the superior fighter was, and that was Jorge Linares. He knocked down Campbell with the straight right. I think it was a third round, and he hurt Campbell badly. And the fact that he also he also damaged Campbell's left eye. I think it was right eye. I think it was his left eye or right eye. He damaged it pretty badly too. But to be fair though, Luke Campbell was able to come back and give Linares some combinations to the body. He was able to give him some angles so that way he didn't stand in front of him because he knew if he stood in front of him throughout the fight, he was going to be in big trouble. Uh, Definitely a close fight at the end. Linares, I scored it 7 rounds to 5. I just felt that Campbell came up short because he just pretty much he wasn't he lost the first 5 rounds and all the other rounds were pretty close. So definitely a good outing by Campbell. He'll definitely be back. He did show to me that he could contend on a world level. It definitely he fought out some heart too because it was recently came out that his father had passed away 2 weeks ago. Prior to that fight, which is very astonishing because we all didn't know about it. And the reason why Luke didn't want to disclose that information because he didn't want his team to use that as a psychological advantage against him, and which is a good thing because you know how fighters are. When they see something like that happens to their opponent, they will try to use that against them just to try to get a psychological advantage over them. So it's smart for Luke not to disclose that, but I know it's kind of a very tough situation going through that, especially you're close to a guy, to your father that he was. I know it's very difficult for him to go through that situation, but he did definitely be back. So yeah, on to some other news. Yeah, that and the cruiserweight tournament. You're near on Dorticos, man. Yeah, man, he blasted through Dmitry Khrushchev, man, blasted through him. I didn't expect that to happen, to be honest with you. I thought it was gonna be a competitive fight way, but Khrushchev, man, he was just too vulnerable for those rights, man. He was getting clipped with those rights throughout, for the 2 rounds of the fight when it lasted, and he just wasn't keeping his left hand up. That was the problem. He was not keeping that left hand up. Dorticos was hitting him with that right as over the top, and then he caught him, flush with the right over the top, and then put Khrushchev down. So definitely good win for Dorticos. He advances in the cruiserweight tournament, so he definitely going to be a force to be reckoned with. So I don't know, man. I don't know. I mean, Alexander Usyk. I mean, he may have a challenge. He may have a challenge with Dorticos, man. Yeah, I saw it, man. I did see that fight. I mean, I'm talking about it right now. So, yeah, definitely, what you call it? Definitely something I didn't see, man. It was a brutal knockout. So, definitely, the cruiserweight tournament has become more interesting now. So, we definitely see more, more of the outcome on that. So, on to some other news. What else we got here? Canelo in the Golovkin fight produced 1.3 million buys on pay per view. Very good. Very good numbers. Very good numbers. Let me see, 1.3 million buys. But obviously they were expecting 3 million buys, so that comes up short of their expectations. Okay, so I mean, 1.3 million is good. So, but 3 million was definitely what they was looking for based off the amount of money they put in and the production costs and whatnot, and the persons were paid. So, 1.3 million buys does come short of the 3 million. So it's not even close to it. So yeah, but on the light side, on the brighter side of things, of the Golovkin and the Canelo Alvarez pay per view, the fight produced the third highest in history. It grossed at 27 million dollars of revenue at the gate, which is the third highest in history. So that's definitely good signs right there. So definitely good signs. Obviously, Canelo was the big headliner here, but Golovkin definitely deserves credit for this as well. So both fighters both deserve credit for producing these numbers. Obviously, Canelo was the headliner. Majority was due to him, but the other half, pretty much a significant was also is a contribution to Golovkin as well. So definitely good signs for both fighters. But again, 3 million buys, not even close to what they expected, but 1.3 million is definitely good. Yes, I know about that situation. I was going to get into that with the Adonis Stevenson and Sergey Kovalev situation. Let me comment on that. First things first, let me read this report, and I'm going to go ahead and give you my thoughts on that low place since you brought that up. All right. Before you get into that, you also said that Usyk is just a superior fighter. Yeah, on paper, he is a superior fighter based off skills and based off his skill set and whatnot. But yeah, but we don't know yet. But styles make fights, man. Because even though you're superior fighter skill set wise, doesn't mean you're going to be the victor here. Okay, look at Rocky Marciano. Rocky Marciano wasn't always a skilled heavyweight, but he made up for that by his by his pressure fighting and his power. So he was able to get through his opponents that way. So same thing with Jake LaMotta. Jake LaMotta made up for that as well during his course of his career. He made up for his lack of skill set by his power and his pressure fighting style. So it is what it is. So we'll see if Dorticos and Usyk meets up in the finals. It'll definitely be an interesting fight. Would I favor Usyk? Absolutely. So definitely, but definitely, I won't say it's a foregone conclusion like Hatman will put it. So let me get into this report by Kathy Duva, okay, where she mentioned about the possibility of the Don Stevenson fight ever happening. Okay, she said here, quote, excuse me, article was Stevens is 40. We want the real fighters. Okay, let me see here. I could have sworn I read something here that she didn't exactly say that, but let me read the article. Let me read the article. It said here, look, Kathy Duva. Look, it's a beautiful division. There's a lot of fights to be made. Now, we have our work cut out for us since we are working with Sullivan Barrera and Dimitri Bivol, and I think all three are light heavyweights will be in the picture for title shots. He start fighting, and Sergey is back to being the man. So it's so fun. So let me see what else she said here. However, Duva feels that Kovalev collecting all three belts without the tournament, collecting three belts without the tournament, and feels that he could do it again without the tournament. So she's talking about about the possibility. There's I think there's a rumor swirling around that there's going to be a World Boxing Series tournament that's going to be assembled now that Ward has retired, vacated three belts. So here's what she said. She said here, look, Sergey managed to collect three belts without a tournament, and from his perspective, that's what we're going to do and try to do. The young guys in the division are real fighters, and we'll get that done, and we'll get deals done. What she also says here, that she also feels that the ship has sailed on the fight between with the Adonis Stevenson, and one is what Stevenson is going to do with his career. Now, as far as Stevenson is concerned, if I had every nickel and every time he said he wants to fight, we literally went through everything, and then he says his manager Al Heyman said that he didn't want it. Okay, I think this week he's 40 years old. So happy birthday, Adonis. So he's 40. I don't know what his future is, but I don't think he knows that either. That story is sadly played out and gone. All right, it could have been a terrific, it would have been a terrific fight, but apparently he didn't want to make history. All right, so let me comment on that low place before I get to your comments. All right, let me say this. First things first. Kathy Duva is being very dismissive about it. All right, but let's sum this up, and let's sum this up from a logical and a honest critique. Okay, let's be impartial here. So Kovalev, no, sorry, Stevens and his team ducked Kovalev the first time around when they could have made that fight happen on the HBO deal, on a tentative HBO deal. Yes, he did. It's a low place. You can spend that all you want to, but that's what happened. This team admitted that they avoided that fight because they went to Showtime for lucrative opportunities, for better pay, for low risk fights. That's what they did. Okay, so that's what happened. So that's a duck one from Stevenson. Duck one from Kovalev when the purse bid was called, when Kovalev was made the mandatory challenger by the WBC, which Kathy Duva, by the way, had begged the WBC to do, right? Make him the number one challenger. So, knowing that they were going to go to a purse bid, Kathy Duva was hoping that Stevenson was going to vacate his belt, given the fact that they was going to go to the purse bid, but that didn't happen. All right, so since the purse bid didn't happen, knowing that she was going to lose the purse bid to Al Heyman and of course Showtime was going to get involved, she decides to get out of it, which is a very unprecedented move. Okay, so obviously that's the only reason why she did it, and that's why she did it again the second time around, because she knows she's not going to win that purse bid, so she backed out. So yeah, she ducked two purse bids. So that's two ducks on Kovalev, and Stevenson won. And yes, low place, he ducked Kovalev the first time. You cannot spin it, brother. He did. All right, so that's two ducks right there. So as far as this article with Kathy Duva is concerned, yes, this is being a duck. I will say that. That's being a duck. So the bottom line is that both fighters have ducked each other, and more recently, again, is that Kovalev on the behalf, well, Duva on behalf of Sergey Kovalev is ducking Stevenson. All right, that is a fact. Okay, so but if you want to play that game, low place, why is it Adonis Stevenson interested in fighting Arthur Beterbiev? It looks like Arthur Beterbiev is going to pick up IBF belt, and more likely, if he does win it, pursue that fight. Why is he pursuing Beterbiev? No, HBO did not lie. Okay, first of all, there were some mixed messages there. Okay, but that they went over to Showtime for better money. They got a better deal to fight Bernard Hopkins, which they fell flat in their face when they passed up an opportunity to fight Kovalev. Man, that's what happened, bruh. So if you're not gonna call that a duck, then I'm sorry, brother. I'm sorry, because you're having a double standard here. Because when Andre Ward was trying to do that with Tony Bellew, he was trying to get a better opportunity to get a better lucrative deal to fight Tony Bellew than Stevenson. You call that a duck. But when Stevenson does it to Kovalev, you don't call that a duck. How could that make any sense, man? How could that make any sense? All right. See, yes, I want you to answer that question. How come when Andre Ward was trying to do that to Stevenson by being passive about that fight, but pursuing Tony Bellew for more money, but when Stevenson does it to Kovalev to pursue Hawkins for more money, how's Stevenson not ducking Kovalev when you're saying that Ward was ducking Stevenson in that same situation? I want you to answer that question. All right. So what else did you say here? Beterbiev is getting a BS shrinkage. Pursue Beterbiev because he won a belt from an Italian bump. All right, first of all, you're being dismissive about Beterbiev. He called out Stevenson a year ago. Stevenson did not respond. So that's a duck on Stevenson's part, bro. Okay. So what else did you say, Mr. Doc? Who has Stevenson fought? Who he fought that fighting war twice in an old man B-Hop scale? Good question. Good question, low place. Answer that question. Well, first of all, Stevenson fought two leftovers. Okay, he fought an Andre Ward leftover, which is Chad Dawson, which you gave him credit for, right? Right? You gave him credit for that. That's an Andre Ward leftover, Chad Dawson, and then he fought towards Cloud, which is a Bernard Hopkins leftover. So if you're gonna chastise Ward for fighting Tony Bellew, who was a Adonis Stevenson leftover, then you got to do the same thing for Adonis Stevenson for fighting two leftovers, one by Ward on Dawson and one by Hawkins on Cloud. So you can't do that, bro. You can't have it both ways. Well, okay. How many times we have to go through this, bro? Stevenson had the deal there, man. It was there, okay. He wasn't satisfied for some reason, so that's why he pulled Al Heyman to get involved in that situation, and they got over to Showtime to get a better deal. Before he initially agreed that he was going to fight Kovalev, he said he'll fight him, but yet this is what he does: he pulls out of the situation, goes over to Showtime. So Mr. Doc is telling, let me see. You say low place. I'm not being dismissive of bums who pick up vacant belts. Will you go and fight for a lineal champion? Huh? Let's see. Let's see. Stevenson's been fighting bums in his last 4 years. Let's see. You got Karpinski. You got Kuchia. No, sorry. You got Sakotsky. Who else you got there? Yeah, those are a couple bums right there. So you going to give Stevenson credit for those wins? Yeah, Top Dog. Yeah, Top Dog's okay fighter, but definitely has no heart. Mr. Doc, he definitely has no heart. I have to say that about Top Dog. Let me see. Low place. Well, Mr. Doc says that so Kovalev and Ward are the only viable 175 opponents. It ain't about who Stevenson fought. It's about who wanted to fight him. Yes, it is, man. It is about who he fought. It is about who he fought. Again, how many times we have to tell you? Fighters not fight about fighting Don Stevenson doesn't mean he is. You cannot give guy credit for fights that he doesn't have on his resume. How many times we have to tell you this, okay? Because it's funny that you will not comment on the fact that if Adonis Stevenson retires today, you refuse to rank him amongst all-time greats if he does retire. And the reason why you won't do it because you know damn well that his resume is pretty disappointing as a champion. You know that. All right. So what else you say here? From lineage is God of boxing. Okay, if you want to talk about lineage, let me ask you something. Okay, when Zork, with Zork, listen, no, sorry, I'm butchering. Was Erdy was the light heavyweight champion, right? Was Erdy was the light heavyweight lineal champion, right? When he beat Julio Cesar Gonzalez for the lineal light heavyweight championship, right? Was he the man? Was he the guy? Was he the best light heavyweight in the world when he won that title from Julio Cesar Gonzalez? Right? Do you know who Zor Erdy is? Low place? Do you know who he is? Huh? No, no, no. Answer the question. Answer the question. When Julio Cesar Green lost his lineal championship to Zor Erdy, was Zor Erdy the best light heavyweight in the world when he beat him? Answer the question. No, answer the question. When he won the lineal title away from Julio Cesar Gonzalez, was he the man? Was he, well, not say the man, was he the best light heavyweight in the world based off that win? Come on, man, answer the question. I'm waiting for you. All right. So those who don't know who Zor Erdy is, right? Okay, Zor Erdy was a light heavyweight who competed there, right? When he beat Julio Cesar Green, unanimous decision, where some people felt that was a disputed decision. When he beat him for the lineal and WBO titles, he took on some terrible, terrible defenses. All right, terrible defenses. A lot of guys you don't even know that he defended his title. Okay, he had how many defenses? He had what, 8 defenses, I think. 8 defenses against a lot of nobodies. And during that time when he had that title from 2004 to 2009, who were the other light heavyweights? Antonio Tarver, Bernard Hopkins, Chad Dawson, Jean Pascal, amongst many others. But he wasn't fighting those guys. But yet he was a lineal champion. So taking on some French contenders in Germany with his light lineal heavyweight title, that means he was the best light heavyweight in the world based off your standards. Is that right, low place? All right, Mr. Doc. It says here, Mr. Doc, you said, look, if you don't have to be a lineal, well, actually, no, 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 no. Hold up, hold up. Let me go back up here. All right, so Mr. Doc here, Mr. Send the link. You don't respect lineage, bro. I will send you a link when I have time. All right. Let me see, Mr. Doc. That means Stevenson wanted to fight Carpinci for VAR top dog Julio Cartel. Well, let's not forget, Stevenson wanted to fight Sean Monahan. That's on record. Low places trying to dispute that, say that's not what he said. Is it actually? There's a report that said he wanted to fight Sean Monahan because he gave what's his name? What should I call it? Lydia Alvarez step aside money to pursue that fight. That's on record, and Low Place is disputing that. All right. He's trying to fight Sean Monahan. The reason why that fight didn't get made because the TV networks didn't. I'm not hating. That's a fact. That's a report that went out, but you still trying to dispute that. All right. So, Mr. Doc says here that, well, before I get to that, Low Place says here, he has a Leo champ on his resume. They don't. Who are you talking about? Stevenson or Zoe Erdy? You still haven't asked my question about Zoe Erdy. So, anyways, let me see. Mr. Doc, I thought that, no, Sir Casey, I don't respect Stevenson's resume. I thought that was the obvious. You don't have to, but you have to tell people to take his lineage in the story. So, Low Place, let me ask you a question. Because me and MBT Boxing had a conversation about this on my last hangout. You do realize that when you become a lineal champion, there is no prerequisites or requirements on who you have to fight as a lineal champion. So you can, as you want to, as a lineal champion, fight who the hell you want to fight. Okay, you can fight a guy who's 5-13. You can fight a guy who's 5-45, 5 wins and 45 losses, and still have to be a lineal champion. So let me ask you something. Are you okay with Stevenson fighting the opposition that he's fought for the last several years as a lineal champion? Are you okay with that? And do you think there should be some type of prerequisite when it comes to being a lineal champion? Yes or no? While you answer that question, let me see. Let me see. So, Mr. Doc says, so Stevenson isn't obligated to pursue any fights. Low place. You're not answering the question, man. He pursued Hopkins, Pascal, and purse bids. Okay, first of all, that is a long time ago. There's Marcus Brown. There's Arthur Berturbiev. There was a lot of light heavyweights out there. There's Vosdick. There's many others he can pursue. He can pursue those fights. Okay. So you're not really exactly answering the question that Mr. Doc has asked you. So Mr. Doc responds, that's 4 fights and how many years ago at this point? Exactly. And he still fought 2 top 10 heavyweight. First light heavyweights. First of all, Thomas Williams Jr. was not a top 10 light heavyweight. You got to get that out of your head. He was not a top 10 light heavyweight. All right. Dude is hating on Stevenson because bigging up Bertervia versus some Italian. All right, who said that I was bigging up Bertervia versus Eric Coley? First of all, I'm telling you, Bertervia is a top contender. Why are you dismissing that? All right. So let me see here. Mr. Doc is at 2 in how many years? With the last 2 year Carpizzi? No. Carpizzi was not a top light heavyweight. Dude, he was not a top light heavyweight. Neither was Top Dog. Get out of here with that. Let me see. Stevenson has been hella ducked. Well, Stevenson's been ducking guys too. So what are you talking about? I would not hold that against him. They would just show that she'll do anything. Yes, I just got on Duva for ducking Stevenson being dismissive, man. Why are we on Duva now? We already went through that. Let me see, Mr. Doc. What part of I don't hate Don Stevens that you don't understand? Yeah, he should pursue some damn Marcus Brown for what? Okay, you tell me that Tommy Karpinski is better than Marcus Brown? Are you telling me that Dmitry Sokarski is better than Marcus Brown? Are you telling me that? Or better yet, Marcus Brown beat Top Guy, the same guy that Don Stevenson beat. So are you telling me those 3 guys are better than Marcus Brown? No. Answer the question. No place. Answer the question. Are those 3 guys better than Marcus Brown? It's Dmitry Sokarski, Tommy Karpinski, and Top Dog Williams. Are they better than Marcus Brown? No, answer the question. Are they better than Marcus Brown? Yes or no? Hey, what up, Fat Apples? Yeah, you said here Chicken has been ducked by whom? Well, I'll be fair, man. I'll be fair, Fat Apples. Kovalev have ducked 2 purse bids that was called when he was a WBC mandatory for Stevenson's title a while back. But to be fair, though, Stevenson did duck Kovalev the first time around when he jumped ship from HBO to Showtime, when he initially agreed that he'll sign on to a 3-fight deal, which includes Kovalev. Uh, During that process, but he jumped over to Showtime because he priced himself out in that situation, which low place is giving him pass for. So it is what it is. So let's see what else you said here. Stevenson has fought more top 10 light heavyweights no matter how you rank it. No, he has not. Stop lying. No, he has not. Okay, stop. He hasn't done it. Okay, let me see. He is Lydia. All right, so place. You gotta answer questions. You didn't even answer my question about Zoe Erdy as the lineal champion. Answer my question about Zoe Erdy right now. When he was a lineal champion, but he didn't fight the top light heavyweights. He didn't fight Chad Dawson. He didn't fight Pascal. He didn't fight Hopkins. He didn't fight Roy Jones. He didn't fight Joe Kazaki when he entered the light heavyweight picture at one point. And he didn't fight Antonio Tarver. So come on. It's just because he was a lineal champion. Does that mean that he was the top 5? Was he the top light heavyweight compared to those guys? Let me see, Mr. Doc. Just like everyone needs to go take Golovkin's belts. Absolutely. Your HBO ducky thing is the biggest lack of knowledge that you show. No. Your biggest lack of knowledge is your biggest lack of understanding is what separates you and me. The hypocrite in that situation. You're giving Stevenson a pass for go ahead and price himself out of that situation, going to another network to pursue another fight for more money, while Ward was trying to do the same thing with Bellew, instead of Stevenson. You're not applying the same standard, bro. You're not applying the same standard. So you're gonna get on Ward for doing that with Bellew, but you're gonna give Stevenson a pass for doing the same thing with Hawkins proposed to Kovalev. That's a double standard on your behalf. Let me see. Hey, what's up, Bo? How you doing, man? Let's see. Let me see. Combined, they're not better than Marcus Brown. You answer my question, but he won't answer my question. Look, Top Dog Carpesi were not top 10. All right. Dawson Bellew, Fafar, and Cloud were. Those 4 were. Not the other 2. Stop it. Yeah, what up, Fat Apples? What happened? What's up, man? What's happening? What's happening? Let's see. No, no, no. Answer my questions, then you'll get a link. Answer my first question. Zoe Orty was a lineal champion. He became a lineal champion in 2004 when he beat Julio Cesar Green in a disputed decision in Germany, right? He became the lineal light heavyweight champion of the world. And he captured the WBO alphabet title as well, okay? The same Julio Cesar Green who beat Darius Michael Zuski in a close fight was some felt that a disputed decision, okay? So when he became the lineal heavyweight champion of the world from 2004 up to 2009, he didn't fight those other light heavyweights that I mentioned. So did that make him the top light heavyweight in the world? Did that make him the best? Answer the question. He was a lineal champion. Come on, answer the question. I'll give you the link. All right, let me go down to the list right here. Where was Scorsese when Golovkin was supposed to be inducted? Yep, good question. Good question. Good question. Let's see. Mr. Doc said you won't even answer that anything live either, which is true. He won't answer most of my legitimate questions. He'll try to deflect to another point, which has nothing to do with my question. He's always known to do that shit. And he'll drag those answers out as long as he can, so that way it can confuse his audience. Because he knows if you do that, if you confuse your audience by drawing out a question, by drawing out an answer that has nothing to do with the question I ask you, some people feels that he's making a good argument, which is not true. Okay, so 155 was Canelo weight. Well, which is true, Fat Apples, but Canelo can no longer make that weight anymore, so it is what it is. Yep, Lopez says, "Yep, take it or be second." All right, bro, you're not answering the question. Mr. Doc said, I'll look at all your old videos just to give you a fair shake, Scorsese." I was telling you to tell Abel to shut the fuck up. All right, you talking about the Golovkin situation, all right? But again, I need you to answer my first question. But since you won't, I'll probably move on from that. But let's get back on the Donna Stevenson, the Kathy Duva situation. Yes, Kathy Duva. No, answer my question, then I will send you a link. Was Zolt Orty the best light heavyweight in the world for 5 years when he was a lineal champion? He never fought Hawkins. He never fought Tarver. He never fought Pascal. He never fought who was the other guy? Chad Dawson. Okay, I think Tom Zonnebeck was competing down there too at light heavyweight at the time. He never fought those guys. Answer the question. Oh, Jesus Christ. Lineal makes you the man. What more? Dude, how many times I have to tell you? The lineal champion does give you status of being the man. Yes, I know that. But does that mean you are the best fighter in the world? Yes or no? Yes or no? Oh, Roy Jones. He didn't fight Roy Jones either. Also, Zor Orty was the best light heavyweight in the world when he didn't fight Roy Jones. He didn't fight Bernard Hopkins. He didn't fight Jean Pascal. He didn't fight Chad Dawson. He never fought Thomas Ottamack. So he was the best light heavyweight in the world. Oh, shit. The reason why I bought Zor Orty because nobody else talks about him. Exactly, Fat Apples. He doesn't even know who Zor Orty was. Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay, Primo Canera, right? Just because he was a lineal heavyweight champion of the world, does that mean that he was one of the greatest heavyweights? No, 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 no. Don't do that. Don't do that. All right. You didn't answer my question. I'm gonna give you another opportunity. So, are you sure that Zoe Orty was the best light heavyweight in the world, even though he didn't fight those other light heavyweights? I'll spell it. I'll spell it for you right here. Give me 1 second. There you go. That was his name, Zoe Orty or Erdy. I'm pretty sure his name, Zoe Erdy. No, Zolt Erdy. Let's see. All right, I'm running out of battery, but you got a few minutes. Hold on. Oh. You're welcome, brother. You're welcome. But look at his record. Look at his run as a light heavyweight, as a lineal light heavyweight champion of the world between 2004 to 2009. Yeah, B. Marsh, he just said that Zoe Erdy was the best light heavyweight in the world. He didn't fight the other light heavyweights that I mentioned. He stood his ass in Germany, went along with the WBO title, and fought a bunch of nobodies. All right, the only guys that he got on his resume that's you could say that's somewhat of notice that has notoriety is not Glenn Johnson. He fought a totally shot Brian Mitchell when he moved up to cruiserweight, right? And he fought Julio Cesar Green. That's it, pretty much. But to be fair to Spanaki actually had a better resume than Zonordi. He fought better names, but of course most of his wins are all disputed decisions. So, oh, by the way, Spanaki was another fighter that Low Place never heard of either. Well, you know what, though? I got a notification that my battery is running very low. First of all, how's my argument so far, bruh? You didn't fucking know who Zor Orty was, okay? When I asked you, I told you when he was a lineal champion from 2004 to 2009, you just told us that he was the best light heavyweight in the world. Even though he never fought Hawkins, he never fought Tarver, he never fought Jones, he never fought Dawson, he never fought Automac. All five top light heavyweights he never fought. And you said he was the best light heavyweight in the world because he had the lineal championship. Okay. In fact, his name was never mentioned when those guys were fighting each other. Or Antonio Tarver. I keep forgetting to mention Antonio Tarver. He never fought those guys. 6 light heavyweights he didn't fight during his run. Oh, Jesus Christ. Dude, don't do this to yourself. The reason why I asked you that question because you value that lineal status way too much, okay? The only reason why you value that is because your guy, your boyfriend, has a lineal status, and you're trying to make up an excuse to the fact that he hasn't fought the best opposition for a long time. Okay, that's a fact. And don't get me wrong, I give credit for Stevenson for the things he's done. Okay, but my thing is, if you are going to try to chastise other fighters for not fighting the best opposition while they're champions, why can't the be the same thing be said for Stevenson? Okay. And again, I'll say to Kathy Duva. Kathy Duva is very dismissive about this. She and her fighters ducking Donna Stevenson. That's totally inexcusable. I'm not giving Duva a pass for that shit. Okay? How can you say, and this is going to Kathy Duva, how can Kathy Duva say that we're not interested in a 40-year-old guy while you fought Bernard Hopkins, who was 49 years old at that time, who was going on 50? Huh? How could Duva say that shit? I'm not giving her a pass for that. Fuck that. Okay, if your guy Sergey Kovalev feels that he's one of the top guys, and you want to fight real fighters, so why are you fighting Vashkov Shabransky? Why is Duva Kovalev fighting them? I'm not sending you a link because my battery is dying out. I will send it to you when I get back on in a couple hours. Okay. This dude just said, yeah, Fat Apples. Yeah, Joe Kawasaki became lineal champion. Uh, when he beat Miguel Kessler for the unified super middleweight titles. That's when he became the lineal champion at super middleweight. Yeah, B Marsh. Yeah, no problem, man. No problem. Like I said, man, you know me, man. I like to keep it neutral, man. I don't take sides. I'm not saying I don't take sides, but the thing is that fighters, I do have favorite promoters, but when they're doing something in the wrong, I gotta call them out. And Kathy Duva is not my favorite promoter. Let's not get it twisted. As much as I've gone at Stevenson, I gotta go at Kovalev too for this shit. I have to. So if you see my videos, then I definitely have been impartial here. True. Ah, Jesus Christ. That's the problem with you, Low Place. You don't understand the things I say. Just because you're a lineal champion doesn't mean you're the best fighter in the world. Period. You're not the best fighter in the division. However, Adonis Stevenson at this point is the best fighter in default because Cole Ward is gone. When Ward is retired, he's no longer. Now you don't have the only light heavyweight that's left is Adonis Stevenson there. Okay? But also, I want to point out the fact that Adonis Stevenson has not fought the best competition his last 4 years. Why can't you admit that? No, no. But, what? All right, first of all, Bernard Hopkins, first of all, Stevenson backed out of that negotiations, all right? When he refused to take a $25, 25% split, okay? He refused to take a 25% split. But guess what? Yes, Bernard Hopkins went to HBO and fought Kovalev. But guess who benefited from that fight? Kovalev did. Kovalev benefited from that fight more than Stevenson did. So Stevenson fucked up by not taking that 25% split. That situation, and he has himself to blame for why he didn't fight Sergey Kovalev when he had a chance to do it. And to be fair, Kovalev had a chance to do it twice, but he backed out of the first bid, so they both ducked each other. Now you see how impartial I am, but you can't accept it. I said 25% split. All right, I misspoke. Adonis Stevenson has ran for guys too, so shut up with that. He ran for Arthur Beterbiev, he's ran for Kovalev the first time. All right. He's a guy who's openly admitted that he'll take on. He's one of those guys who's taken the high reward, low risk route for the last 4 years. He himself don't even care about the sport. Oh, Fat Apples. That's what you meant. Oh, you know what? Joe Calzaghe had the ring title. That's like another version of the Lidio title, which doesn't really get it regarded as much. But Zolt Erdy was the actual Lidio champion because he beat Julio Cesar Gonzalez, who also beat Darius Michalczewski, who was a long reigning WBO Lidio champion for so many years at light heavyweight. And Darius Michalczewski actually beat some names. He beat Virgil Hill at one time to capture that Lidio status back in the 90s. But the thing is Michalczewski never fought Roy Jones, and he actually turned down opportunities to take that fight. So it is what it is. So yeah, Zolt Erdy, yeah, nobody's ever heard of him, but he said he kept his ass in Germany and never fought those 6 other top light heavyweights that I mentioned. Dude, how many times I have to tell you? Beterbiev called out Stevenson 1 year ago, and Stevenson never responded. Stop trying to make excuses for the guy. I want you to hold Stevenson to the same standard like you hold fighters like Ward. Yeah, Tommy Karpinski, all-time great win. Hey, Dmitry Sakoski, an all-time great win as well. Top Don Williams, a top great, all-time great win. You're not getting it. You're not getting it. Roy Jones just entered the light heavyweight division when he went for that WBC. All right, he got the belt, but he also wanted to fight Darius Michalczewski when he got that belt. But Michalczewski turned down that fight many times, bro. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Fat Apple's chicken sit is good, but he hasn't fought enough top competition. You know what? Here's the thing I gotta say about this, Fat Apples. I have a little bit of respect for Donnie Stevenson by not calling him chicken sit. I won't do that. But it is true to say he hasn't fought enough top competition. That is true. Hey guys, listen. So, Mr. Daco, so Stevenson is gonna fight Joseph Parker like to be like Roy Jones. dude, you're not making fucking sense. All right, what the fuck does the WBO have to do with the lineage? Did I just tell you that Darius Michalczewski has ducked Roy Jones so many fucking times? He turned down that fight on multiple occasions. And to be fair, Roy Jones has turned down the fight against Michalczewski on some occasions as well. But the fact is that Darius Michalczewski didn't want to fight the guy. He didn't want to come to the United States to fight Roy Jones. Jesus Christ, man, this is very simple logic. Why are you giving? I'm gonna ask you this question before I get off here. How many lineal champions? All right, is Carlos Baldomir one of the best lineal champions you ever seen? Yes or no? Was Carlos Baldomir one of the best lineal champions we ever seen? He won't answer it. Okay. Was Primo Carnero the best lineal champion we ever seen? Answer the question. I'm not getting a response. Okay. Was Stevie Little one of the best lineal champions we ever seen? Of course. Of course you don't know because you haven't seen those guys. My point that I'm making is that just because you're a lineal champion doesn't mean you need to be held to the highest prestige. That doesn't mean much. And B Marsh, no, Baltimore was it exactly. Okay. As I've told Low Place, Roy Jones was rated pound for pound number one for many years, and he was never a lineal champion. He was never a lineal champion, but he was rated pound for pound number one, universally recognized by many, many rankings for many years, and he was never a lineal champion. All right, hey guys, look, I gotta get off here because my battery's running low, but I'll get back to you guys in a little bit. All right. So thank you for the conversation. I'm out. Peace.